Hi there, my name is Joy Holt, and I am the library director at the Carson City Library in Carson City, Nevada. 3 years ago, we took a step back at our existing, to take a look at our existing teen space and figure out what we could do to increase the usage of that space during the hours that we make available. At the time, we had an average attendance of about 2 students. So we knew there was something we needed to do to increase that. We knew that this was going to be a tough demographic to reach. We'd already experienced that, and we also just knew that this is a tough demographic to reach for libraries. So we began working with a human-centered design consultant named Larry Dailey, and at the time we weren't really sure what all this was going to take, but I will say that it took a long time. It took 3 years, and it's going to continue to take a long time because it's never going to end. We have realized that. We had some bumps in the road. Nothing was perfect. And what we learned from that experience by hitting those bumps in the road was that we needed to recalibrate our expectations and be patient. So in part of our reconfiguring our space was what you see back here. That was reconfigured and designed based on a sketch we got from a student. We tasked the students with taking a look at the space and telling us what they would want, and that was what we got. And by doing that and really investing in the feedback from the kids themselves, we were really able to glean what they wanted and then proceed in a way that was practical and possible for us. And frankly, we were able to do it on maybe slightly higher than a shoestring budget. So we may not have been on a water budget, but we certainly weren't on a champagne budget. And as I said before, we recognize that this takes time and it's a journey.
Innovation's difficult. Collaborating with people that you've never really worked with before is even tougher. So when you look at human-centered innovation, which obviously has innovation, but also looks to get people with differing perspectives together to spark that innovation, stuff can get kind of messy kind of quick. As an example, several years ago in the journalism field, the trend of the future was called newsroom convergence. Theoretically, newspaper newsrooms were going to get together with television newsrooms and develop the storytelling of the future. And the trade press was just abuzz with how great that was working. Until researchers started looking into it and they found that there wasn't actually much of substance going on, even though everybody said they were doing great. In fact, one researcher said, newsroom convergence is like teenage sex. Everybody says they're doing it, very few are, and those that aren't nearly as good as they say they are. Why do I tell this story? Well, right now, there are a lot of institutions trying to implement human-centered innovation and human-centered design into education settings. And there's some emerging research that says we're not agreeing on what that means, and sometimes it can be really shallow efforts that are actually being done. In fact, the research shows that sometimes people just using sticky notes to put their ideas on the wall, they're calling that human-centered design, when in fact it's that much of human-centered design. It's a piece of the pie. And there are some places where the people facilitating the human-centered design process actually can't even say what human-centered design is. Is it possible that we need to bring out that story from the journalism example and apply it to education? And if so, what can we do now to turn things around and make it so our innovation efforts are meaningful? My piece of the panel presentation will be on developing a rubric so that we're comparing apples to apples. That we know when one organization says it's doing a certain type of human-centered design, that another organization can know exactly what they're talking about and try the same thing or figure out what they might modify for their particular purposes. Pretty simple, but it actually could make a big difference in pulling off the innovation that we want to pull off. And if you want to do scholarly research or you want to talk about it, everybody will be talking the same language, so we can compare those apples to apples, not only telling that they're both apples, but which one might be bigger than the other one. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you in Austin, Texas.